So the problem with men, I think, in men's work, if I may say this, you're the experts, is that men certainly talk about trauma, but they tend to think the inner critic is good. They tend to identify with the inner critic or see that beating myself up is, well, that's kind of like a useful thing to do. But there are really two different kinds of inner critics. And I think this is a very important distinction to make. And you were making reference to one of them, Philip. The very classic inner critic, and this gets us back to Freud, was the idea that we get messages from our parents, we get messages from the environment that we basically come inside of us and they live inside of us. And especially in the case of trauma or abuse or mistreatment, it's like people can say, I hear my mother's voice. I hear my father's voice. I hear that fucking abuser. I can almost feel his or her presence in my being, right? And people will say that. That's what they call an introject technically. It's like another entity is living inside of you, just blasting you. And these can be very serious. They can lead to suicide. They can lead to horrendous things. And that was the kind of classic model, and obviously rooted in trauma. But it's like this force is living inside of us. But what I've come to studying the teacher is what I've come to realize in more recent years is, in fact, most people's inner critic is actually a protector mode, which means it's a mode that develops around, I think people saying 6 or 7, maybe 5 or 4. Basically, they're saying, I'm here to keep you safe, and I'm learning ways for you, strategies for us to be safe. So if you do these things, we should be safe. And perhaps that actually was working when we were a child or when we were young or something. In that environment, these rules made sense. But they become very problematic as we become adults, and they lead to all kinds of troubles.